So here is the how to warp your tablet weaving without driving yourself crazy video that I promised. First of all, a little pet peeve. Most of the patterns that we learn on that are called easy are the threaded in patterns, and those are not actually period for the most part. There are some exceptions, but mostly what you see are 2 or 3 colors, and they are probably done the way I'm fixing to show you because it takes a lot less time, and if there's something that ancient peoples didn't really have, it was just loads of extra time. So in order to get started, you're going to need 4 different balls of yarn, wool, whatever you're using, and some way to separate them. Watch out, try not to get dizzy. So down here you will see, theoretically, my yarn bowls that were made by the lovely and talented Kirsten the Potter. But I also am showing a couple other options, like a plastic bin with holes in it, or even an inkle loom that has a post that your yarn will fit around. Don't try to do it with skeins of yarn. It is a really bad idea. But anything that has a spindle where the object can spin out of, you should be fine. For my small silk versions, I actually had Jason just drive me long nails into a board. But you do need some way to separate them or they will tangle up and they will drive you crazy. So I kind of pre-did a little of this. You're going to need a stack of however many cards you're going to use. I usually do somewhere in the 20 to 40 range. I have 7 on here as an example. The first thing you're going to do is put your yarn, your string through one hole. Now I've done 3 of them just to pre-do them to make this a little easier, and you want to make sure they're all going the same direction or else it's going to be really complicated. So just to show you, I use a tapestry needle. Any large sewing needle will work, and you're going to just feed your string through it. And almost all of my projects that are practice projects are done with crochet cotton. It's cheap, it comes in a lot of colors, and it's not hard to find. So your next step would be you just put your needle through the whole stack of cards at the same time. And like I said, I'd already done the first 3 just to make it simpler because you don't want to sit there and watch me thread a needle 4 times. And then you would take those, and I have a warping board. I have a warping board because I usually do lots of cards and I usually do relatively large projects. But it's not necessary. You can actually do what I'm fixing to do on any 2 fixed points or directly onto an inkle loom. But if, like me, you do larger projects or lots of cards, a warping board is actually really handy, and sometimes you can find them fairly cheaply at antique shops and such, since nobody really uses them anymore. My friend Scott gave me this one, and before you think he's altruistic, it's because he owed me money. So we're going to tie it on with a slip knot. Then here comes the fun part. However long you need it to be, and don't forget to put in some amount for take up, depending on your project and what kind of strings you're using. I usually do somewhere like a 1/3 extra, but if you've got some very stretchy something or something that's not very stretchy, you may need to change that. So the first step is going to be, you're going to drop 1 card at the front off of our stack. And then we're going to bring the stack with all the rest of them around, back to the starting point. Try not to twist your hand over or you'll create a twist there that doesn't need to be. And you're going to drop card number 2. And you're just going to repeat this all the way around. Try to watch how twisty you get it, although it's fairly easy to just let it spin back. There's card number 3. All the way around. Card number 4. Number 5. And this works for almost any of your twills or double faces or even snartimo, because just like this set is actually 4 different colors. It will not work on your threaded in patterns, but since I don't like those anyway, it's really not an issue for me. And here you can see a little bit of where it's starting to try to twist because I keep twisting my arms, and all I really have to do is let it spin itself back out. Drop that last card. Bring this around. And here you would tie it off, cut it, and move it over to wherever you're actually going to weave from. So, to that end, spinning you around again. Here is a set that I already did, just so you can see. And yes, they look kind of messy. They're all over the place. And it looks a little daunting, especially if you've got like 40-something cards. But the reality is, all you're going to do from there is pull them apart. Kind of make sure they're sort of kind of in some kind of order. So now you see they're starting to look more like they should. And then your pattern will tell you whether or not they should be front to back or back to front or S to Z or whatever options you might know them as. Just for the fun of it, I'm going to turn all mine the same direction. All right, so that's done. And then let's put yellow and green on top. I'll spin this one, spin this one, spin this one, and spin this one. And voila, you're all ready to go. Now this is only 5 cards, so it will take a few more minutes than that, but that's essentially all you're doing. If you happen to accidentally miss a card, you can do 1 card and just insert it in. If you accidentally forget to drop a card, you'll end up with an extra set of strings, but it's relatively simple to either leave them alone or cut them out depending on if they're messing up your flow, which is probably going to depend on where in the pattern they might have accidentally been. So that is speed warping. Also, you'll hear it called a continuous warp. I know there are other videos on YouTube that will show you the same thing, so if you have any questions or you didn't quite understand what it was I was doing and you didn't understand the process as I was laying it out, you can also go ahead and look up some of those, and they may explain it in a way that you find easier. Otherwise, if anybody is watching and has any questions, I am here and available. If I can see where my questions are. Otherwise, I am around and you can send me a message whenever you like. Thank you. I hope that helped.